Did you know Spoonful of Strength is not just a podcast? We have an Instagram page called Spoonful of Strength where you can see clips of our upcoming episodes, learn about different illnesses, and we share other people's stories. We also have an Etsy shop where you can shop for clothing such as t-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies. You can find candles and mugs and tumblers and blankets. You can find it all. We support all chronic illnesses, and the great thing is, if you find a t-shirt in our shop for multiple sclerosis, we can change that for lupus or Ehlers-Danlos or any other illness that you need. Everything is customizable in our shop. Use the code PODCAST for 20% off your entire order. Welcome to Spoonful of Strength, a podcast for people with chronic illness and the ones who love them, where we talk all things chronic. Here's your host, Rachel and Tina. Welcome to Spoonful of Strength. I hope you all are having a good day. Tina, how is your day going?
My day, actually, it was very good. I know I mentioned a couple times how I'm so hopeful with the back pain starting to resolve itself. So I'm feeling well enough that I feel like I'm finally starting to catch up with all the household chores that have gone by the wayside for the last 3-4 months.
Yeah. Good. My day has been busy getting my surgeries in 2 days, which by the time this airs will be over. But I think I mentioned before, I'm in an MS clinical trial and I have to do certain tests every 3 months. And my 3 months was exactly the day after my surgery. And I mean, the things it has me do is like walking and doing all these things. So I called and talked to the director and they allowed me to start it early. And so there's 2 different walks that you have to do. One is a 3/4 mile walk, and then one is a 6-minute walk. And so I told her, I said, well, can I do the longer walk on Saturday? Because I can go out with my husband and then I can do the other, there's dexterity test and there's vision test and all of that. I'll do all that tomorrow, and then I can do the 6-minute walking test tomorrow. So we decide we're ready. We're going to do it. I took a couple puffs of my asthma. We get out there and I'm like struggling. It's so hot outside. And I was probably halfway through and said, crap, we could have gone to Walmart and done this walk.
Yep.
And I was like, are you kidding? I can't stop it now.
Right.
I'd already started it, but the heat was so bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, we literally could have gone to Walmart and walked around the store and done this walk. So it came about 10 minutes too late, but got it done. We are going to talk today about things that can make your life easier with chronic illness. That could be home safety items. It could be general items, comfort items, mobility aids. And we are going to actually link everything we talk about in the description so that you'll have a direct link to the items that we're talking about. So what do we want to start out with, Tina? You want to talk about just some general items that either we use or we've seen or we want to use, different things like that?
Actually, I'm curious. Here's a question for you, because you definitely will. I've used a few mobility aids, like recovering from surgery and such, but not on a regular basis. What do you find is your favorite, not necessarily the most helpful, but your favorite mobility aid?
On a daily basis, I would say I could not live without my cane. There's a couple different types of canes. I used to use a single tip cane, which is just like a straight, stick, and it's used for, when you don't need a lot of support. recently within the last couple of years started using like it's not a single tip. It's got four little feet on there, and it's a lot heavier, which took a little bit to get used to, but it offers a lot more support. And I would say between that and my electric scooter, if I'm going out somewhere, especially to the store or any place that will be walking, I would not be able to uh, go shopping or do anything like that without my scooter. And I hate the scooters in grocery stores,
Hmm.
not just because of the backward beep, beep, beep that's like alerts everybody in the
Everybody
store
is
that
doing.
I'm going backwards. But they're so clunky and everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, right now I would say the things that can let me do the things I wouldn't be able to do, which is, you know, going out of the house.
Mhm.
Um, those are probably the most helpful. Um, while we're on the subject of mobility aids, I also have a rollator, which is kind of like a walker, but it's on wheels and it has like a tilt down seat. And I've been using that a lot because I'm having a harder time standing for long periods of time. So if I am, like for lunch today, I was cooking my husband hamburgers on the stove, and I would just sit and then, you know, give him a couple minutes to cook and things like that, and then I would get up and turn him, and then I would be able to sit right back down. And that has been helpful. Probably within the last couple months I've used that more so that I
Mhm.
can cook but not wasting all of my energy standing at the stove. So
Mhm.
um that's been really helpful for me as well. Have
Good.
you ever had to use any mobility aids, like physical mobility aids?
Um, yeah, well, of course I've used crutches when I had my knee surgery, coming home for the first couple days, but the main it's funny that you asked because I remember giving Dave a hard time. We were helping his mom clean out her basement a few years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
his dad had had a knee replacement years ago. And so they had down in the basement not one but two walkers, just the regular, the sides fold in, you can fold them out, and they're on wheels and stuff. Not, it doesn't have the seat like the rollators do, but just your traditional walker. And one of them still had the tag on it. And we had a his mom is one that it's hard to give get her to give things up, whether
Mm-hmm.
she needed them or not. We're like, you don't need two walkers down here. And so we had quickly realized that if we told her, okay, we'll take it home and we'll donate it somewhere. And so then it's been living in our basement. I was like, you want me to donate it? And he's like, no, we'll just keep it because you never know when we're going to need it. And I'm like, we are not going to need a walker anytime soon. And then like a year after that, I think, was when I had my kidney removal surgery. And with the abdominal surgery, it was just like so painful that I like was using that walker through the house to get
Yeah.
around. And it like killed me that I was using something that I was like telling him we are never going to use. But it actually helped me
Mm-hmm.
get up and be mobile. I feel like made it much, much easier and probably much safer for me to maneuver around those first couple days until the abdominal, all the, even though my surgery was laparoscopic, it was still, there was a lot done, and a lot of little incisions, so it was pretty tender. So yeah, I used it, but for the short term. And
Yeah.
I begrudgingly will admit that it actually was useful.
Yeah. Well, that's actually how I got my rollator is back in 2019. I was having a hysterectomy and my neurologist said, I am I am ordering or giving you a prescription for a rollator because with um, that type of surgery, you do not want to fall. And she's the one that actually got the rollator for me for post surgery. And then I didn't use it for quite some time. I've just recently been using it again, just like I said, for cooking and things like that.
Mhm.
But that was helpful after surgery. We have to talk about wheelchairs now. I am in the midst of getting an electric wheelchair, which is been a hard thing to process. I can't do it. Obviously, they have manual wheelchairs, and I am not a good candidate for that because of the lack of strength that I have in my arms, and as well as my shoulder surgery coming up, but more so just I don't have the strength to be able to use a manual wheelchair. But if you have the ability, then that's a good thing to have again for going out, enjoying yourself, going to the store, going out with friends, things like that. Wheelchairs are definitely helpful. I was just, I guess, measured for an electric wheelchair, which is not obviously not going to be here in time for the surgery, probably a couple months away from actually getting that, but that will be helpful for me to save my spoons, but it's going to be hard mentally. It's been
Mhm.
hard mentally just getting to that space. So
I'm sure that it's, yeah, I can imagine that that's difficult to be stepping into another new aid. I'm curious, I just never really gave it much thought. The benefits of a wheelchair over a scooter. Does the wheelchair give you more support, like back or overall body support compared to what a scooter does?
um,
Or, um,
they're different in that with a scooter, it is a lot less support as far as like the seat and things, but also they're longer and they're kind of heftier,
mhm,
which when you're looking to move around a house, like I brought in my scooter because with me being in an immobilizer for 2 to 6 weeks, I was wanting to use the scooter in the house and like I could not get into my bedroom because of the angle.
mhm,
I could get into my kitchen, but I had to basically couldn't turn around. They're much longer and they don't provide quite as much support, but it may be something I can use a little bit through recovery. But the electric wheelchairs, I didn't realize because I when we first started talking about this, they gave me this pamphlet and there was like two different electric wheelchairs to choose from. And I'm like, oh, well, this one's the right one because it's like the basic wheelchair. And the more I talked to the occupational therapist and the person from the mobility aid store, they're like, you really need this other one because it allows you, it actually will raise up so that if I can get in like the kitchen cupboards, and it will
oh,
also lean back
mhm,
so that I have a lot of problems with spasms in my diaphragm at night.
mhm.
So it can like lean back to take off some of that
Pressure.
pressure. It can lay completely flat. Um, I don't foresee myself being in a position where I can't get out of the chair, but that is an option for that one. And it reclines, different things like that. And the one thing they told me is that this is a big purchase, and you know normally insurance only covers these every 5 years, so you have to look at where you're going to be in 5 years, not what do you need right now, but most likely I will be worse in 5 years. And so getting something that will cover me for the next 5 years.
And that's
So,
where a lot of the mental weight comes in, that realizing that you're looking ahead from 5 years from now and knowing that coming to the process of coming to terms with 5 years from now, you're more than likely going to need more support.
mhm. I am completely different,
Mm,
mobility wise, a year ago than I am
right,
today. And that's only 1 year.
right.
Um, so yeah, those are typically, the four kind of categories when you're looking at mobility aids.
Mm,
Um, let's talk a little bit about like comfort items or items that you can use around the house that are helpful. Now, I don't know about you. I have been using a weighted blanket for probably close to, gosh, maybe 10 years, maybe. Do you
hmm.
use a weighted blanket?
I don't. I know that they're definitely beneficial with anxiety and just and overall body aches. I mean, I guess technically, if you count Yogi, he's my 67-pound doodle that likes to lay on me. Like it's interesting because as soon as he recognizes my emotions are getting like ramped up or my anxiety is getting ramped up before I even do, and like next thing I know, I have this dog laying on my chest, across my chest. I'm like, he's not trained as a support or a service
No.
animal. So it's just like an instinct thing from him. Like I think I missed his calling on that. But no, I have not tried a weighted blanket. What are the benefits that you find you get from that?
Um, it's funny because I was thinking about one time because they have different weights,
Right.
and right now I'm at the lowest weight possible simply because one time I think I have a 10-pound blanket, and one time I had gone up to like 12-pound or something, and I can't remember. I think it was my back or my hip or something. It was too heavy for me to move, and
Oh
I
no.
was actually by I was like pulling muscles
Oh no,
from
trying
turning
to get
over
off
in
into the
bed
blanket.
because it was too, and I hadn't even thought about it. And my neurologist was like, "Do you think it could have something to do with that?" And so I'm literally at like a kid's weighted blanket. But
Yeah.
I just find that it helps a little bit with restless leg, which I get.
Mhm. Okay.
And just feels more like comforted, and like just to have a little bit of weight on you.
Mm.
um and it is a process to turn over, because again, I'm not real to turn over. I have to pull it back, turn
Right.
over, and then pull it back
Put
on
it back
top of
over.
me. But yeah, but I have um been using that for quite a while. Having a chronic illness, my mood swings by the day, sometimes by the hour. Do you ever wish you could have a candle for every emotion you go through? Well, now you do. Introducing our emotion candles. Feeling anxious? Light our anxiety candle. Feeling tired? Light our pooped out candle. Feeling frisky? Stressed out? Sad? We've got you covered. See all of our designs at Spoonful of Strength on Etsy. That's Spoonful with 2 L's. Use code podcast for 20% off. I know I mentioned restless legs. I don't wear compression socks much. I'm going to wear them a little bit more after surgery, but I do have like a pair of compression socks near my bed, and I get my left leg will get restless leg really bad, and I use compression sock. I'll in the middle of the night put a compression sock on my left foot, and I'll be because I won't be able to sleep without it, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
instantly calm it down.
Come again.
Have you ever used compression socks
I
much?
have not. No, I was trying to think if I've ever needed one, if I've ever used it for, but no, I have never used a compression sock.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I went through a phase. I think I can't remember if I had mentioned it in the past, like on a past episode, with my fibromyalgia. I thought that I had mentioned that they had prescribed. I think it was Lyrica, for that, and it ended up like I weaned myself off of that one because they were wanting me to stick it out longer, and I'm like, yeah, no, because I ended up with insomnia And then because of the insomnia at the time, I didn't have anything. I was like kind of self-medicating with Benadryl to be
Mm-hmm.
able to sleep.
Oh,
And the problem is, once you as you start getting a tolerance to that, you start taking more and more and more. And then too much Benadryl, one of the ingredients in Benadryl can cause restless legs. So I started having
yep.
issues with restless legs. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
just this vicious cycle of not being able to sleep, or like whether I took what used to help me sleep or not. So, um, yeah, I guess maybe, I wish I had been more at the time. I think I wasn't really seeking more alternative things that
Therapies.
could help, you know.
Yeah. I had the exact same thing happen. I was using an over the counter sleep aid, which was the same ingredients as Benadryl. And after a
Uh,
while, yeah, the restless leg was horrible. That's one of the most frustrating things, the restless leg. I can't
mhm.
stand that. But
Yeah. For me now, it's mostly as I'm drifting off. Every now and then you'll get that, like I'll get like a I wouldn't even say, I guess a little spasm or something, like a jerk in my legs that
mhm,
kind of, but it doesn't continue. It's usually just enough to keep me from, startles me back awake or something, but it's not something that
yeah.
goes on for a long time. It doesn't really keep me awake anymore like it used to.
What other items can you think of?
Say for the last 6 months or so when I was dealing with like such severe back pain, I wish I had gotten one of those gripper, like the grippers to pick things up off of the floor and
Hmm.
things like that. Because it was very difficult. It was very difficult for me to be able to bend over to pick things up. I felt like I had to like steady in my if there wasn't anything nearby for me to hold on to or to steady myself. I'm like, yeah, that's not getting picked up till Dave gets home or whatever. So I'd have
Yeah,
to kick
you
it
just
somewhere closer.
slide it under the couch,
Slide it
right?
under the table and pretend it's not there or whatever. So
And
that's one thing I wish, and I probably should get one just in general. I remember we got one for Dave's mom when she started having problem, as they get older. I think our mom has one as well.
mhm.
When they as you get older and it's harder to bend over, or it's not safe really for them, as you get
Yeah,
older, especially if you're still living by yourself, it's not
yeah.
safe.
And with chronic illness, there's a lot of chronic illnesses that like POTS, people with POTS, get the orthostatic hypertension where they lean down and then you stand back up and you can get lightheaded.
Right.
People like that have MS, that have balance issues, things like that, where it may not be safe to lean over and grab something. That would be something that would be really helpful. We actually have one. We didn't buy one. My husband found one at work. He was doing something outside and it was like in a baseball field or something. And he brought it home and said, look what I found. And he was kind of laughing at it, that, how stupid it was. And now he uses it every night
Every night.
to pick up the dog bowls
Oh.
after they eat. He picks up the dog bowls with him.
Is he
So
getting
it's so
old and he
funny.
can't, he's getting old and he can't bend over anymore? Or, I bet if you
I
asked him
don't know
more,
if he would
it's probably
admit
because it's a
that.
cool tool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know that he would actually admit,
He'll never
but
admit
yes.
that.
Oh, no, 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 no. Um, but I saw something on Amazon that I really want to get because it's getting harder for me to get out of the car.
Mhm.
I will like turn and get my feet out of the car, and then try to use my cane and the side of the door and try and get up. And that's been really hard for me. But they make these things called handle assist. It's like a standing mobility safety tip. It's like, gosh, it's probably only like maybe 4 or 5 inches. And every car on where the car door latches, there's this metal piece that this tool slides into, and it gives you like a little handle to get out of the car. And I've seen it and I think that it's so Um, that is so cool because that's one of the things I'm starting to have a hard time with is actually getting out of the car. And so something like that is a lot easier so that you've got some support and stability. Because what I find is even though I'm using my cane, if I it's still not very sturdy. The
Mhm.
cane is gonna wobble as I'm trying to get out. And so far haven't fell, but that could be something in the future that if balance and things are a problem for you, then that would be something to at least help you get out of the car. And then you just unhook it and put it in your glove compartment. It's the coolest thing. So, and it's really inexpensive, like $15. So I always like things that are inexpensive too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, something even as simple as you get, you know, if you have trouble reaching up, you know,
Mhm.
into your counters or something, just something as simple as a little step stool that,
Mhm.
I was obviously one that's wider, and non-slip, for safety reasons,
Mhm.
and stability, but. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always used one, but that's just because I'm short. So at
Mhm.
5'1", we've always had a step stool in my kitchen, and I
You
ended up
take
having to
after
go
your
out
mom.
and yeah, yeah, I had to go out and buy. I ended up getting a little folding one that could be folded away and tucked out of the middle of the way for the camper because I realized I can't reach the top shelf where we keep the dishes in the camper.
Mhm. Oh,
So I had to go get a step stool. But yeah, but a step
okay.
stool for sure. Especially if you do have, balance, challenge with balance and things, you don't want to be, overextending to try to reach something. It would be
Yeah.
safer to have that step stool to be able to step up on.
Yeah. As long as it, like you said, has a sturdy base.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
sturdy and probably wider than, some of the other narrow ones.
yeah.
When
Yeah.
I see this looks like it's only like $30. I'm looking at this site called Mobility Aid. I think it's just called mobilityaids.com or something like that. And they have a auto swivel seat cushion. So if you put it on your car seat, and then when you go to um, get out, it actually will swivel with your body movement versus you having to. Um, so I bet this would pair nicely with the handle that you were
Mhm. Yeah.
talking about wanting, because then you can hook it in there and pull yourself, but you have that swivel seat, so you're the cushion, so it's actually helping. It's you can swivel versus having to put the as much effort and strain on those hip muscles to actually turn yourself as well.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And you're talking about kitchen and things like that. I recently went through some occupational therapy. My hand strength is really horrible. And she gave me some good advice and some good things to use as well. She gave me this little tube,
But,
but we'll link all this in Amazon. But it's a foam grip tubing and it has different sizes and everything. But she gave me this piece of tubing that was maybe 5 inches long. And you can stick like a ink pen in there or pencil
mhm,
to help with writing if your hand gets tired when you're writing or you have a hard time gripping the pencil. But also, she pulled the pen out and she stuck a fork in it, and um, it could be used for utensils as well. And one of the things she was telling me is that people who have poor dexterity, poor hand strength, and things like that, that the wider the item is, the easier it is to hold on to. So they make like like large spoons and like pancake turners and things like that online that are already like the handles are already thicker.
Mhm.
But this tubing, you can put, your razor in it, forks, spoons. I'm trying to think of all the things that you could use it for. But that's a good one too, because I started having a hard time dropping things and dropping specifically spoons, my cell phone, things like that, because my hand strength wasn't good. So that's something else that you can use kitchen wise. And what about like electronic openers? Have you ever used that was another thing my occupational therapist talked about, but I haven't gotten yet, is that they make electronic jar openers. Have you seen these or do you have one of those?
I don't have one. I've seen them. Like they've been out. I thought Black and Decker came out with one many years ago because I ended up thinking that it would be something good for mom. Except for
Mm-hmm.
mom said no because she doesn't really cook anymore. She
Yeah.
just does like frozen meals and stuff. So she's like, no, I don't really need anything like that. But I could see myself eventually probably wanting one as I start having more and more because I do like with the fibromyalgia and I'd be surprised if I don't have a little bit of arthritis going on in my hands occasionally. I can feel that. I can see me eventually getting one of those. So, but that, and I'm a little bit of a kitchen gadget addict. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh my
people will
gosh.
be like, I'm like, hey, and who wants crepes? I got a crepe maker. It's like, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. That's funny. I know something that you and I both use. Um, and we talked about it, I think, a little bit on the last episode, but the talk to us a little bit about the headbands that we wear at night with the Bluetooth.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I absolutely love that. And by the way, like I know you before this we had talked about the like mindfulness and how I will listen to an 8 hour thunderstorm meditation or a drumming meditation. Those headbands are what I use because I'm a side sleeper too. So they're just like
Mm-hmm.
nice headbands, Bluetooth connected. They're so comfortable and they stay because I initially, when I used to try to listen to those all night long meditations, I would just put my earbuds in, but then I'd wake up in the morning looking all over the place for my missing earbud that fell out during the middle of the night, and who knows where it
Mm-hmm.
is in the covers. So I absolutely love those headbands.
Do you want to know? Okay, so do you want to know what I actually listen to all night with my? This is so embarrassing. Do you want to know what I listen to all night?
Yeah, my brother
TV
snoring.
shows.
Oh,
No,
was it my brother snoring?
no, no, he actually doesn't snore. But I will put on my one of my favorite 90s uh dramas,
Mhm.
and that plays on a channel 24 hours a day. I don't know why. I music gets in my head and then I actually distract myself because I'll be
Right.
like
Steven
bebopping along to the
along.
music.
Yep. Yep.
And I've never tried like the meditation, but yeah, like every night it's like let's turn on the 1990s drama, teen drama, and I listen to it, and it's just something I can focus on, especially if you've got a lot of issues with um your mind racing or ear ringing tinnitus. I know you have tinnitus, and
Yep.
I have it occasionally. But that's probably, I'm going to change my answer to the first one. That is probably one of my favorite
One of your
things that
favorite
I
ones.
have,
Yeah.
because it really does help with sleep, and they're comfortable to sleep
Right.
in. So
Yeah. Another one that helps, especially with my tinnitus, or if I'm just having trouble sleeping, is a white noise machine. also
Yes.
helps kind of, it drowns out a lot of the outside, not only does it drown out a lot of the outside noise, but for me it tends to help drown out some of the internal noise, if that makes sense too. This short meditation is about gratitude. It can be difficult, I know, at times to find things to be grateful for as we're going through our struggles. Well, I invite you to sit quietly and settle into comfortable, both feet on the ground. And if you wish to, either you may close your eyes or soften your gaze, relax your eyes, the muscles around your eyes, and notice your breath. Nice deep breath in, breathe out, exhale, inhale, exhale. Focus on breathing in relaxation and breathing out tension. And acknowledge and recognize how your body is feeling in the moment. And now we're going to practice a gratitude mantra. And the mantra is, I am grateful for, and you fill in the blank. Please fill in the blank with something or someone you're grateful for. And I'm going to repeat this mantra 10 times. And each time, I invite you to think of something or someone different that you're grateful for each time. For example, I am grateful for the trees outside my window, or I am grateful for the air that is in my lungs, or I am grateful for my friends and family. So each one, I'm going to repeat 10 times, come up with 10 different things that you're grateful for. So let's begin. I am grateful for. 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 Now bring your attention back to your breath and breathe in one final deep breath in. Slowly exhale. And when you're ready, open your eyes and take a moment to reflect on how you feel in this moment and continue to think of things that you're grateful for. Have a beautiful day.
Okay, so I have to ask you, is this just your family that does this? Because my husband, my stepson, from the day that I met your brother, he has always slept with the fan on.
I do
Is
too.
that a Hayden thing?
I must be. I
Okay.
don't know. Yep. Yep. I do year round, year round. I don't care how
And
cold
my
it is.
kids do it
That
too.
fan,
Yeah.
that fan needs to be blowing. I need the air blowing on me. Yep.
He's not so much of the air because
It's the noise.
he turns the air conditioning. Um, it's so cold in this house at night. But anyway, that's another episode. But he just likes it for the noise.
For the
He just
noise,
has to
yeah.
have it for the noise.
For the noise. So it makes me
And
wonder if you would actually get away if a white noise machine would be a good alternative. Yeah, for me, it's the air. I need to feel like even if
oh,
it's cold, I will be completely covered up with like my face barely hanging out of the out from under the comforter because it's so dang cold. Because I also like it really cold when I sleep, but I'll have my
yeah.
face poked out from underneath the covers with the fan blowing on me. It drives
Oh
Dave
my
nuts
gosh.
in the wintertime because he's like, do we really need the ceiling fan going? And I'm like, yes, yes, we do.
Oh my gosh. Well, I keep an emergency Snoopy blanket at the side of my bed for when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like so cold.
Mhm.
I'll grab the Snoopy blanket. Actually, your sister Judy bought for Ed because Ed was a big
Snoopy
Snoopy fan
fan.
when
I
he was a
remember his
kid.
little
And
stuffed
so,
Snoopy. Yep.
yeah. So I stole it from him and I keep it right by my bed and I use it quite a bit. But those comfort items, even like those comfy socks, things like that that can just I would say though the comfy socks and stuff can be a little bit slippery and they do make some with like
The grippers
rubberized
on the bottom.
grip
Yeah.
bottoms. Yeah.
Yep.
So those
Yep.
would be definitely safer.
Yeah. You know
Uh
what would work for you, what you may want to consider, and is something that I used during my chemo because I was when I lost so much weight, I had like zero body fat and I was cold all the time. Um, what is they make electric wraps like an electric blanket, only it's like, that you can actually like wrap yourself, it's meant to wrap yourself around, like if you're in sitting in the chair. But I ended up getting two of those. I kept one in the bedroom and then one out in the chair that I would usually sit at to watch TV and just, crank it up and because that heat really helps.
yeah. Yeah, and of course some illnesses like MS, heat can be good, but it can also kind of bring some symptoms on. So
Right.
depending on if you've got that temperature sensitivity, but we are doing some things in our house because of my surgery that have been more safety type things.
Mhm.
We recently, my husband installed like a grab bar by the shower.
Mhm.
Um, I love taking baths, but it's getting harder to get in and out of. And with my surgery, I won't be taking a bath anytime soon because of getting myself out of the bath, obviously with a sore
Yeah, you
shoulder.
won't be able to get her.
But so we've got a grab bar there, and then we also got and this is a good suggestion. Whatever illness you have, me having MS, there's a MS association, MSAA, where every so often, I think they limit you to like a few years, but I got an email that said um, you're eligible to receive some free products. And it gave me like 5 items to choose from, and I could pick any two.
Mhm.
And I got a like a bicycle. It's one of those like desk
Uh-huh.
bikes
Mhm.
that so that is something, if especially if you're having a hard time, walking, things like that, but want to still get your exercise, that was really nice to be able to receive. And I also was able to
Your
get a
muscle
shower
mass.
chair.
I was going to
What?
ask if you had, I was going to ask if you got in a shower chair. No, the bicycle
Yep.
ones, those leg bikes is great to help
Yeah.
make sure you don't lose a lot of muscle mass if you're not able to get out and
Yeah.
walk as much, Jim.
Yeah. So I was able to get a free desk bike and a shower chair at no
Yeah.
cost.
Nice.
And then my husband also put a raised
Oh,
toilet
the
seat,
raised, yeah, yeah. So it's
hmm
easier to get
which has
up
helped
and
a
down.
lot because the way that our bathroom is configured, there's not a lot of places to grab to be able to, get up. And that has been
Right.
a big help as well. Do you know that they actually make an aid to help put socks on? Have you heard of
Oh,
this?
no.
So
Kind of like one of
it's
those
this,
boot pullers to help you get your boots on or something.
well, it's called a sock aid, and it's basically this like white box that you can put on your lap, and then you put the sock on the box, and then
Hmm.
it comes with this little handle. So then you put the box on the ground, and then you slip your foot in it, and then you use this little lever thing to pull the sock up.
That's pretty
So
nifty.
you
I'm
do,
sitting here looking at it on Amazon. It's actually really
yes, it is so cool. So if you do have problems bending over, or if you have stiffness, things like that, that was something that I hadn't seen before, and I thought that was really, really
Yeah.
cool. But
And they're not that expensive. I'm like sitting here looking
no,
at it. It's like $10, depending. I
yeah,
mean, they have different, but it looks like it's ranging anywhere between like $10 and $20, depending on,
yeah,
the most expensive one that I'm seeing is like $27.
yeah.
So,
And the last item that I have is it's called a Liberty Lift, and it looks like a rubber, um kind of like a rubber steering wheel, but it's missing a couple, the top and the bottom. But
uh-huh.
and what it is it helps you stand up. One, your caregiver or whoever's around holds on to one end, and then you can hold on to the other end, and they can help you stand up by using that. I found that. I've not used that. It's just something that I came across, and I thought
Mhm.
that was a really good idea for
Yeah.
people, especially in like comfy couches and recliners and things.
Right. Yeah.
It can be hard to stand
Get
up.
up.
So
Yeah. Yep.
that's something that I thought was really neat. Is there anything on your end that you found that we haven't already talked about?
Well, you had mentioned something about your phone, like having a hard time gripping or holding on to
Mm-hmm.
your phone, that you drop your phone a lot. Is
Mm-hmm.
I need to order one because I can't, I lost mine, but like one of those waterproof pouches that like just like some sort of pouch or something that you could put around your neck or wear on your, like a crossbody bag or something like that, that would hold those things so that you're not feeling like you have to walk around with your phone in your hand. Um,
Yeah.
um,
Um, I it's something I need to get right now. I have something called a phone grip holder, that it's something that goes on the back of your phone, and you can pull it out, and then you can like slip two fingers in there
oh, okay.
and have a better grip on your phone.
Hmm.
And I use that a lot, but I
Hmm.
also make sure I invest in like phone protectors,
Yeah.
because my phone protector right now has cracks in it, and I'm thinking if I did not have that, my very expensive phone would that saved me quite a bit. But yeah, I need to look for something because I am always dropping it. But that has helped a little bit, just being able to slide them underneath my fingers and then make a fist, and I can uh, keep it uh, keep it handy a little bit easier. I don't drop it quite as much if I hold it by that instead of holding it, the regular way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And the thing with these things that we talk about, some of the things we've used, some of them we haven't, and we're just, looking at, it might be helpful for you. But the biggest thing is making sure that, especially when you're talking home safety, of like, and this goes along with whether it be a wheelchair, a cane, or, raised toilet seats, whatever, is just making sure that your mental idea of where you should be or what you should be able to do doesn't hinder your safety. And that's one thing, is that it might be difficult to start using a cane. And I'm realizing right now that my future of having acceptance into getting in a wheelchair is going to be very difficult.
Hmm.
But I've had enough falls and enough days where my legs are hurting so bad, and different things like that, of knowing that it's good for me. And so a lot of these items are for safety or for reserving your spoons, things like that. And especially with the actual mobility aids, just looking at your life as, I want to be safe so that I don't break an arm, a leg, or a concussion, anything like that from a fall, and
Mhm,
really
mhm.
trying to be smart about choosing mobility aids that are going to make your life easier, and not letting the mental part of it um, keep you from doing what you need to do to be safe.
Right. Well, and it's hard in general with coming to getting to the point of acceptance of any chronic illness. It is uh, it can become difficult to try to approach it at the thought of, okay, this aid actually will allow me to still
Yeah.
enjoy the things in life that I'm limited at now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's important to shift into that. And it's not I know it's not an easy switch of just going, oh, just change your mindset and do this. Cause I know it's mindset work is a lot of work. Like they call,
Yeah.
there's changing that mindset can be difficult, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, I can either stay at home, become even more of a, limit myself even more than I'm already limited, because I don't want to come to the terms of I need that next level of mobility support. Or you can say, okay, well, if I do this, then um I can go out and about more. So it's hard to, I remember when our mom when mom was talking about how she doesn't want to fly anymore because walking through the airport is just it's too much for it's I mean, she's 92, so but it's been a few years, but she's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to fly anymore. This is probably my last flight because getting through the airport is too much. And I was like, Mom, we can walk you in there and get a wheelchair and they will wheel you right up to the gate, and you don't have to make that walk. And her response was, that's for old people.
Yeah,
I would
that
like to
sounds like
I'd
her.
like to know her definition of old people. I think she was
Hmm.
90 at the time when we had that conversation, by the way. So
She is the youngest 92-year-old I have ever met. I mean,
I
she
know,
just
right?
is. Yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah.
it's hard, even as your age, not even dealing with a chronic illness that's affecting your mobility, but just natural age progression and the decrease in mobility. It's a hard adjustment to admit that, okay, I need this support now.
Hmm.
And for some, they would rather just, limit themselves versus admit that they've reached the point of needing that. And
Yeah.
and my mindset, my philosophy on that is, then it's like, okay, well, then what's the point? It's where are you still getting your enjoyment in your life, you know,
Hmm.
versus limiting yourself. Why to put
Yeah.
those limitations? But that's everybody else. Everybody has their own journey and to work through. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
all right, I think that we talked about all things mobility and assistance wise that we could think of. If anybody has any other items to suggest, be sure to add them to our comments so that other people are aware of what might be out there to help them. Our next episode on Thursday, we will be talking with M, all the way from Australia. She's an MS wellness coach, and we are super excited to be interviewing and having a chat with her about
That's going to
her
be a
MS.
solo one. I'm really upset that I'm not going to be here
I know,
for
I
M's.
know.
Yep.
When is
Tina will be tackling that one.
yeah, while Rachel is recovering from her surgery.
Yep. So she is seems to be a very interesting individual, and I'm excited to hear the interview. And I know you'll do great without me, but just at least miss me a
Of
little
course, I
bit.
will miss you. It'll seem weird. Well,
Yeah,
every now and then, I guess we can branch off alone.
that'll be a great interview, and I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Yep. All right. Thank you all for tuning in again, and we will chat with you later.